So, what do you guys want to talk about?
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother. Put out the caution tape. Put out the orange cones. Acknowledge me.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of A Plus Wrestling here on A Plus Productions. It is Monday, and well, for once, we don't have a pay-per-view or PLE to talk about, so we are going to kind of freestyle this week's episode. As always, I am Boris, and this week I am joined by Matt. Matt, how's it going?
Bonjour, Boris. I'm bringing Bonjour back. It's going very well. It's going very well, brother. Other than the fact that our Miami Dolphins got crushed and looked like literally the worst team in the entire NFL, life is good. You know, it's starting to become fall, cooling off in Toronto. We love to see that. And yeah, you know, can't really complain, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just busy as always, doing my thing. It's just been very busy summer. Typically at work, summer has always been kind of like a downtime with vacations and everything. But this year it was just busy. But people were still taking vacation, so it was just like a skeleton crew of doing everything. So it's been crazy to say the least. But yeah, it's really starting to feel like fall in the city. That crisp air in the morning, that air that can hurt your lungs as soon as you wake up, which is beautiful after the insane summer that we had and the early summer that we had. Like, remember, we were boiling our balls by freaking May, which is, you know, normal, used to be normal, but yeah, the past few years, it's been a later start. But yeah, crazy stuff. Lots, actually, for once, and thankfully, not too much to talk about. This is just a podcast type of episode, so we're just going to freestyle. We're going to shoot the shit. Matt, it's been a few weeks since we chatted, really. So I want to take this time and kind of get like the state of wrestling type of thing with you. So yeah, do you want to start and shoot the shit on that?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Just a quick tight 45 on Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Let's go.
Exactly. That's a perfect start.
Forever.
That's a perfect start. Let's start with AEW. You know, AEW, they've had a year. They've had years of ups and downs. They've had goods and the bads. But, you know, I think that as we kind of predicted in our bold prediction show, you know, this is a very important year for AEW where they need to get their shit together. Matt, I know we're about 3/4 of the year in. Do you feel that they are on the road to get their shit together?
Yeah, I think AEW is pretty good. I think it's been it maybe was a rough couple years ever since like the CM Punk Young Bucks incident. I think there's been a distinct cooling off period of AEW, and it's starting to heat back up. One problem I did feel AEW had was they weren't pushing Will Ospreay hard enough, well enough. He could have easily been like the number one babyface that brand has always really badly needed, and he never quite got there. So Will Ospreay is now injured, perhaps for 12 to 18 months or more. He's going to be gone for a long time, and that could be a huge blow to AEW, but because they haven't used him in the role that they should have, it almost lessens that blow. And that bona fide number one babyface, at this moment, it appears that they have stumbled into that guy in Hangman Adam Page. So the shows are good, man. I've really enjoyed the ECW arena, the 2100 arena 23. AEW shows. I think it's been a really good product. Even Ring of Honor's show from that arena was pretty good recently. I think the vibes are good around AEW. It will never quite be what it was in 2019 when WWE was dog shit, and we needed an alternative. Although WWE is pretty bad right now. It's cooling off itself. You can't restore that feeling. You can't. It will never come back. But for what it is, AEW is good right now. I think they're in a fucking pretty good spot, man.
Do you watch the shows live?
Do I watch them live? Oh, rarely. Almost never, to be honest.
Yeah, to me, that's a huge indicator. But then as soon as I asked that, I remember you have commitments on Wednesday nowadays to keep you nice and busy.
Yes.
So it's hard to state that. But if you were around, would you watch it live?
Probably, yeah. If I was just sitting on the couch on Wednesday evening, I'd probably flip on Dynamite for sure. And that's it's a great call on your part. That's a good indicator as to whether or not the ball is rolling again. I feel like it is.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. For the most part, I do agree with you. It's AEW. They needed to improve. There was a lot that AEW needed to do, and I feel that they're taking off a lot of those, smaller venues, focusing on their own shit, not worrying about other companies. Last week, one of the major things that AEW did, in terms of just existing, was they moved their all-out pay-per-view timing. And they moved it because WWE's WrestlePalooza was booked at the exact same time. AEW then moved their show earlier. Matt, what's your take on that? For the longest time, Tony Khan said, just bring it to WWE. They brought it, and Tony Khan waves a white flag and moves the time.
Well, waves a white flag, I believe, is strong. I think it makes sense, man. I think if you can avoid directly competing with the biggest brand in your industry, why wouldn't you do that? It's not like they moved the show entirely. They just moved it up 5 hours from 8 p.m. Eastern time to 3 p.m. Eastern time start now in Toronto. We know people. I don't know if you have tickets, but we definitely know people who have tickets, and the reactions have been split. I have a couple friends who are like pissed about that because they had plans during Saturday afternoon, and I have a couple friends who are actually quite excited because it's like, like I can have a Saturday night now. I can go to the show in the afternoon, enjoy some wrestling, and go out and on to the town. So I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's smart. I think it's smart. If WWE is going to ruthlessly counter program every fucking pay-per-view you do, you might as well counterpunch yourself. So I wouldn't call it waving the white flag. I would call it a clever measure. Honestly, I think
go ahead. Here's why I say wave the white flag, because okay, cool. There's a lot of reasons why Tony and AEW did it, but they never explained one single fucking reason. The optics of it is that they waved the white flag and they moved it. We're the ones who are filling in the gaps. We're the ones who are saying to other people, this is the reason why they did it. It makes sense because, one of the things I said on the Poison Rana show yesterday, which you should check out, which we went very in depth on a lot of subjects, was, look, for the international audience, it makes more sense. The UK audience, they actually give a shit about the UK audience. They don't want them to stay up till 2, 3, or start the show at 2 in the morning or something like that and go all night, right? It makes more sense to start in the afternoon. So what AEW and Tony Khan really should have done is explain that using their PR machine, using Twitter. We know Tony loves his Twitter and everything. I just find that the messaging around it was weak and non-existent. So fans right now are left making up the reasons why this was the change. And, well, it's very easy, and that's why I specifically said wave the white flag, because you know what? We don't know if that's not the case. So that's the issue there. AEW's one of the last things that they really need to focus on, now that for the most part that they have the in-ring stuff fixed, is now they have to take a look at the other non-tangible things like messaging, like PR, because this is a perfect example of that. They easily could have turned this change into a huge win and make themselves look like that alternative that they were back in 2019, but they didn't through lack of messaging.
I disagree entirely. I don't agree with that at all. I think you can't have it both ways. And it's not just you, but a lot of people complain about AEW like not keeping their eyes on their own paper and focusing too much on WWE. So you want them to come out and say, we moved this show because of WWE.
No, we didn't. No, we moved this show because we care about our fans in the UK. You don't need to mention WWE at all. We care about our international audience.
But that is not why they moved the show. That would be a lie. And you can say
No one
that,
cares.
I
No one
guess,
cares.
but
That's
it's
the
just
whole
like,
point of PR. That is the whole point of PR.
Well,
that you can control the messaging, and then that allows us fans to not fill in the gaps, right?
well, it's not something. I don't think that there are many fans. The only people who are doing it are dickhead podcasters like us who are looking for something to be mad at.
Oh no, there's a lot of. I know randoms. I know random people who don't give a shit about shows like ours, and I'm saying this because I have family members who are down in this rabbit hole, saying that that making up like reasons why AEW changed the time. It's out there. They know it's out there. I have some friends who wanted to check out AEW, and I know one friend who absolutely can't go now because they were actually coming into town that around that time. So it sucks for some people, and they're pissed off. And you know what? That one person who did buy tickets was going to come into town. They're essentially done with AEW because it's like, okay, well, they don't give a shit. It's a very mixed bag of reactions, to say the least. But overall, Let
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If they came out and said, we care about our UK and international fans so much that we are now moving every pay-per-view, including this one, to 3 p.m., would that person then be like, oh, you know what? I'm not mad at AEW anymore.
I'm not going to say they're not mad, but at least there's a reason why. Right now, there's literally no reason why. It's like, oh, here's a change. So, yeah, it's...
Well, I think that your explanation is smart, and that you'd be a good fucking PR team member, man. Tony Khan should hire you. I think that makes sense what you said, but I couldn't imagine caring, and I think the subset of people who care about that are so minuscule, and I think those people, the vast majority of people who are whining about that, if AEW said, we're switching this show because we care about fans in the UK and we want them to be able to watch pay-per-views, almost all those people would be like, you're lying, Tony Khan's lying, it's because of WWE, and they wouldn't care anyway.
But it doesn't matter because then there's a message.
And complain about that instead.
Then the issue, well, not the issue, but then there's at least a reason why. Right now, we know the reason is WWE. If they, PR and marketing and optics is a whole other issue and a whole other thing that a lot of people don't take a look at. But it's just as important sometimes as your in-ring, and that's something that WWE is just absolutely incredible of. Even when we know they are absolute bullshitting us, the fact that they can control the messaging is huge on that company, and it's huge for any brand, and it's something that I hate to say this, corporate America is just amazing at. Even if we know that they are absolutely bullshitting us, the fact that they can control the messaging is something that a company, it's a huge asset to have. And right now, AEW just doesn't control the message. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make. And it's not just in this situation. It's for many things where AEW's PR machine just is non-existent.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I just, I don't know. I think the people who are going to complain are going to complain. If they would have said we're doing this strictly for the UK audience, all the fucking Jimmy Corderases and dickheads of the world would just be like, oh, AEW is just doing this because of WWE. Now they're lying. So I don't know. I don't think that would change much of anything, but it's a good idea on your part. And perhaps Tony Khan should give old Boris a call. Maybe that's what they need in their PR team. Is more big homie.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? Like, it's PR and messaging is a huge thing, and that's something that WWE just does so perfectly. Again, even when we know that they're bullshitting, even when we know that they're pieces of shit, even when we know that they're just flat out not giving a fuck about the consumer, that's something that they do have great power over. And that is their PR and their marketing. And
I know what you're saying. That's absolutely accurate. You're 100% right. But I think the conclusion being, so I want AEW to lie to us more is insane.
I'm not saying that I want them to lie to us, but they need. I am not saying that I want them to lie to us. They just need to play the game. This is the thing. If they want to play, if they want to play in the big house, That's unfortunately one of the things that they have to do. And again, it's not lying. Who says that it's lying? If you tell yourself long enough, it's it's one of those things. Like this is the next step for a company like AEW. They're not lying. If that's what they tell us.
I guess it's the old Costanza thing, Boris. Yeah. It's not a lie if you believe it.
I'm happy that you said that because I was kind of lining you up to say that. All right, let's talk about keeping in the brand with AEW. Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had some technical issues a couple weeks ago. Death Before Dishonor went on free on YouTube. I called it a perfect jumping on point. Matt, were you able to watch any part of that show?
Yeah, I saw a bit of it. I saw Paul Walter Hauser getting it on with QT Marshall. That was a fun match, pretty nuts. Definitely more violent than I was expecting. Hats off to the fourth lead of the new Naked Gun movie, Paul Walter Hauser. He did a pretty good job, and it seemed like he was living his dream. He has some charisma in there. He has like a Bully Ray, very poor man's, homeless man's Dusty Rhodes vibe to him, kind of a man of the people thing. I was really impressed by Paul Walter Hauser. The double main event I thought was great. Mina Shirakawa and Athena, great match. Bandito just never misses these days. Another great match from Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. And I thought the Ring of Honor show was strong. Sucks that there were technical difficulties, but that makes it feel like Ring of Honor, doesn't it? There's always technical difficulties with Ring of Honor shows dating back to like 2008.
Yeah. I just for me, Ring of Honor shows were just synonymous with horrible production, worse lighting that would give you headaches, regardless of what arena they were running, and stuff like that. This really did feel like a classic Ring of Honor show.
Which is not a good thing.
Not a good thing at all. But that main event, just absolutely bonkers. Women just going at it. Athena, 1,000-day champion. The Bandito match. Matt, this has been a conversation. Is Bandito on your short list for Wrestler of the Year?
Absolutely. I wish he had more room to kind of spread his wings on Dynamite, although the Bro-Dito tag team is awesome, and he and Brody King have made a shockingly great pair. I wish he was doing more on Dynamite so that he'd be higher up on that list. But in terms of pure bell-to-bell, he's like unfuckwithable, man. He's like one of the best, most reliable in-ring wrestlers in the entire industry right now. He always has great matches, no matter who he's against, what kind of match it is, who he's with, whatever the case may be. 5 minutes on Dynamite, 30 minutes on pay-per-view main event. He always delivers.
Yeah, he's so fucking good. He is so fucking good. This is the Bandito that, ROH kind of turned into the champion out of the blue. It's because they clearly saw something with him, and I'm so grateful that Tony Khan kind of kept that momentum going with him, and Bandito's just having some of the greatest fucking matches this year. Kudos to all of his opponents because they've also just gone through hell and back and helped them out, but he's been so fucking good. It is crazy to think about. Speaking of which, and before we do move on, we are 3/4 of the year in. We're doing the best worst as we always do at the end of this year. Matt, how's that ballot look, and have you put any thought into that?
Oh, like matches of the year at the end? I don't know if we'll do a full special. Maybe we should. But yeah, definitely it's time to start thinking about the various best and worst of things. I feel like I'll probably hop in on worst of this year. Sometimes I feel like the discourse around wrestling is so negative and toxic that I don't want to be part of that. But I don't know, you can have fun with it. I think every couple of years I'll hop into worst of, and this feels like a year where I could join worst of and have some fun with it. But wrestler of the year has some tight competition, because I probably would have voted Will Ospreay, but if he's going to miss the last quarter of the year, I don't know if you can justify that. And then it's wide open. Like, there's a couple people in WWE you could say Bandito's honestly a good shout, but does he have the promo skill? No. Does he have charisma? Yes, off the charts. So I don't know. Bandito is tough. If we're separating male and female, no matter what, then it's even tougher, arguably. But Maybe if it's just one single wrestler of the year, it's Tony Storm or it's Mercedes Moné. And those are the two best wrestlers of the year across all lines, company, gender, whatever, you know? But yeah, it's definitely time to start thinking about it, brother. Start watching some weird ass indies and some crazy Japanese wrestling that we may not have seen. Consult our good friends Andre and Melball for things we may have missed in Noah and All Japan and such.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The reason why I bring this up is because, as always, you know, our awesome listeners do message us, let us know those random matches that you have seen that you think we haven't, because it is time for us to round out our best, worst, and we'll figure out how we do things by the end of the year. Still tons of time to get there, and yeah, we'll let us know what you think and all that fun stuff. All right, Matt, let us jump to WWE and the brand that is WWE. This weekend, coming up on Friday, we have Worlds Collide in Las Vegas. Funny enough, Mexican Independence Day. Let's go to Las Vegas to celebrate. That is funny on WWE's part. Main event there, Dominic Mysterio versus El Hijo del Vikingo for the Mega Championship. Is this Dominic's time?
Well, we've been expecting Dominic to win this title for a couple months now. Like every time he gets a shot, we're like, okay, this is probably going to be it, and then it hasn't been. So I will once again say, it's probably going to be it. I think this is going to be the time where Dominic Mysterio takes the title. I feel like the Mexican fans want that. They certainly don't look at El Hijo del Vikingo the way we do in the States. He's kind of like a mid-carder who is shoved down their throats, and they kind of rebel against El Hijo del Vikingo in Mexico. And I feel like they would actually prefer Dominic Mysterio kind of making fun of them and telling, like, they would actually like that organic heel more than random chosen babyface who they don't connect with. So yeah, I think this is time. I think it is his time finally to win that AAA title, Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, they used to connect with him, then he kept getting injured. He kept having to drop the Mega Championship when he was feuding with Ray Fenix and things like that. The biggest issue with El Hijo is that they feel that they, being the Mexican fans, and this is from talking to some Mexican fans on Facebook groups and shit like that, is that they always thought that El Hijo thought he was bigger than them. You know, he would randomly go to AEW and just stay there for a long periods of time, not coming back. And then the unfortunate crowning of, you know, of WWE essentially making him their corporate champion. That was kind of the final straw, because Alberto El Patron was able to create this fake persona and make himself the Dusty Rose, the champion of the people, and all that stuff. But if you know anything about Mexicans and Latino culture and Latinos in general, you'll know that it makes some weird, fucked up sense.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And obviously, you know, Latino culture significantly better than me, obviously, for obvious reasons. But yeah, man, no, that makes total sense. Thank you for articulating that in that way. It's I'm glad to have your perspective on that one. Yeah, just doesn't it feel like El Hijo del Vikingo has one foot out the door, and it's felt like that for like the last 3 years. He's just kind of waiting for that big contract. So I understand why the AAA fans kind of rebel against him to some degree. I get it.
And this is the thing: if that's how the Mexican fans want to be, and if WWE feels that they can't rehab him or anything like that in AAA, why not just move him to the main roster? Why not just move him to WWE and NXT?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's coming. It's coming sooner than later. 2026, he'll probably be maybe in NXT, most likely on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly. Another interesting match here is for the AAA Latin American Championship. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., fucking love these names, versus Dragon Lee, versus Head JD McDonough, versus Ethan Page. Ethan Page is on NXT doing some of God's work with Chelsea Green, probably the best thing on NXT right now. So is this, you know, one of the things that AAA's people have been very adamant about to their fans is that, you know, they're trying to tell their people, look, Yes, WWE owns us, but don't worry, we're not going to overly WWEify ourselves. But if you look at this card, and this is a perfect example of it, with Ethan Page, current gimmick of him trying to be the North American champion for everyone, do you give him another title? This is the Latin American Championship.
That could be an interesting gimmick for sure. But yeah, this is 3 WWE wrestlers and a AAA wrestler in this match. So the WWE-ification is happening. It's slowly creeping in. It's they say death creeps in through the gums, and this is creeping in through the gums, this WWE thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Ethan Page will win this. I think he doesn't need it. It'll probably just be a big win for El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Dr. Wagner the Third, Dr. Wagner Trio. But no, yeah, I don't see them doing that, although I wish they would. I think that would be a very good gimmick.
Yeah, I think it would be smart if they, like, this is the only other WWE person that I can see winning a title. Also on the card, we have a mixed tag match, Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez versus Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice. We also have a Reina's Championship #1 contenders match with Natalia and Fabi Apache. And then the World Tag Team Championships of AAA, Psycho Clown and Pagano versus The New Day.
That's one where I see a title change. I think the New Day will win the AAA tag team titles, and any amount of New Day in Mexico will be awesome. And I think Xavier Woods is the kind of guy who would push for that and really want to do that and really be comfortable, have a chance to stretch his legs in front of the Latino audience. I really hope that happens. I think it will. I'm expecting the New Day AAA tag team title run.
Yeah, it's funny because that's the one that I don't see happening, because that can continue with their whole them getting screwed out tag team titles and them declaring that the tag team division, not only in WWE but now AAA and the world, is dead.
Fair. I can see it going both ways, but I do think they would be such excellent tag team champions in Mexico. I think they're gonna. I think WWE is gonna do it. We'll see.
Yeah, but regardless, AAA, Worlds Collide, Las Vegas, they still haven't officially announced that this is going to be on YouTube. So I guess, hopefully, possibly that's coming. I don't see it not being on YouTube, but it is weird that they haven't officially announced it, which makes you wonder what WWE has cooked.
True, and yeah, it's coming. It's coming, right? It's this Friday. The 12th
it's
of
this
September.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, after SmackDown, 10 p.m. Eastern, I believe.
Yep, it is from Vegas, so it can start a little later, Eastern time. But yeah, Worlds Collide, WWE AAA, this Friday. All right, Matt. Then let us shift over to NXT. NXT, a brand that I have a very, very soft spot for obvious reasons. Have you been keeping up at all with NXT and how the NXTers are going?
Well, so like I haven't sat down and watched a WWE television show since SummerSlam, but I do see things on YouTube and social media and stuff. There's something we're going to talk about in a second that fits that category. But yeah, one thing that I've been enjoying just lapping up is Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, as we've already mentioned. That's not only the best thing in NXT, but one of the best things in wrestling. Such a natural pair. They look like brother and sister. It just fits. You know, something about them just complements each other so well. And yeah, that's like my favorite act in wrestling right now is the Ethan Page, Chelsea Green fucking dynamic duo is so good. It's so good.
Yeah, they work really well off each other. It's so good. They're hilarious, and they just you know what it is when you know how to get on people's nerves. You're such a damn good heel, and both Chelsea and Ethan, I find that they know how to get on people's nerves, and they kind of use this natural, I don't want to say hate, but this natural heel tactics that they both have, and they're just executing it with excellence. It is so damn good. Obafemi, somehow still in NXT. You know, something I was saying yesterday, because I've been thinking about this for a really long time, and it's Obafemi it's almost as if he's, I don't want to say overstaying his welcome, but the men's NXT division just right now is weak. And I find that with him as champion, it appears weaker because there's literally no one good enough to beat him. Where, I'm just pushing, and I have been pushing for weeks, that, hey, just give Javon Evans the title, move Obafemi up, and I bet you the men's division will just at least appear better than it really is. Because right now, Obafemi is just too dominant in NXT.
Yeah, that makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Like when there's an undefeated team in the NFL, like when the Patriots were going off around 07, it kind of made every other team look like bitches. I understand that's kind of where we're at with NXT. I guess Royal Rumble is the place to do it, to bring Obafemi up. But yeah, there's nothing left for him. He doesn't need any more seasoning. The man is ready. It's been the best kept secret in wrestling for a couple years. I totally agree. It's time to move Obafemi up for sure. And it leaves the rest of the men's division of NXT in a holding pattern while he's there.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening. That's what it feels like. It just feels like the women are absolutely carrying that show. And that seems to be the MO with NXT, not only NXT, but WWE in general. All right, you wanted to talk about some social media stuff. What's up?
Huh?
You brought up some social media stuff and clips.
No, what I meant was that's where I saw the AJ Lee return. And that was absolutely amazing. AJ Lee, I'm so glad to see her back. It was so nice to see CM Punk beaming with pride. The pop was legendary. The crowd went mental, and I knew they loved AJ Lee. Like, real ones know how good AJ Lee is. Truly one of the most underrated talents in the history of professional wrestling is AJ Lee. Amazing talker, a good wrestler when women were not encouraged or even allowed to be good wrestlers. She was a good wrestler. She takes amazing bumps, like literally like Jeff Hardy, Darby Allin almost level bumps all the time in the ring. The best female talker ever in professional wrestling by a wide margin, blows the doors off some of them. Becky Lynch is close, but she's a significantly better promo than Becky Lynch. Blows the doors off like a Charlotte or something. Truly one of the most underrated talents ever in wrestling. One of the most underappreciated talents ever in wrestling. And it was so nice to see that the crowd in WWE understood that and treated her as such. A huge legendary pop. Great moment. Just heartwarming, groin-grabbingly good pop for AJ Lee. That was fucking sick. I really love to see that. And I hope she has like a full-time run. I feel like she's going to get one last good run. It's not just going to be a couple mixed tag team matches. She's going to be sticking around for a couple of years as long as CM Punk doesn't burn this WWE.
Look, here's the thing. If CM Punk was going to burn his bridge, he would have done it by now. And you would have seen seeds of it planted by now. But now, especially with both him and AJ there, CM Punk's going to be a good soldier. He's still going to be CM Punk. He's still going to do his, his random WTF moments. But it's 2 paychecks that he's fucking over right now.
Sorry, you cut out there, so I missed what you said. But here's my opinion about CM Punk. He is now in the last couple days with the Donald Trump stuff, bringing the National Guard to Chicago. CM Punk is now in the last few days posting on social media anti-Donald Trump stuff. And I think that could be the thing that sours the relationship between WWE and CM Punk in the long term. If CM Punk doesn't keep his mouth shut and play ball, Triple H literally is a White House employee now. So I think that could be a very, very big thing down the road. That could be what leads to some major strife between WWE and CM Punk. If CM Punk doesn't, shut his mouth and be a good boy and go long, as they say. But for now, I think everything is great in the life of CM Punk and AJ Lee, and it's probably going to stay that way. But I would keep my eye on on CM Punk doing more left wing posting and seeing if that matters to the WWE higher ups, because It seems like it might. It seems like it might.
I don't think so, to be honest. I think WWE is in a weird position. WWE in general has always kind of tried to lay under the radar when it comes to that. They're not flat out like UFC or something like that. But the reality is all these
strongly. I disagree strongly. On SummerSlam,
can I finish? Can I finish? Let me finish.
No.
Let me finish.
Okay, go
Let me finish. They've tried to maintain under the radar for as long as humanly possible, but the seeds of it have really been showing over the past little while. And there's always been bits and pieces where you can see it, but for the most part, they've tried to stay as under the radar politically as humanly possible. But the reality is that we know we're not idiots. And sometimes it pisses me off that they treat us fans like idiots about stuff like that. But you know, now it's almost nearly fucking impossible for us to convince us otherwise.
They, on WrestleMania 10, I think it was, they had a character making fun of Bill Clinton just randomly in the audience. They've been sneaky political for a long time, and the mask officially came off at SummerSlam, where they were literally openly shilling for Donald Trump. Is it as bad as UFC? No, but UFC is straight up fucking North Korea now. UFC is openly a Trump rally every time they do a show in the United States. It's not that bad, but it's still untenably bad. It is still horrible.
Literally what I just said, right? That's what I mean. Yeah, the seeds have always been there, and if you pay attention, if you have a couple working brain cells, you kind of know about stuff. But that's the reality with all of entertainment, with most of entertainment, right? Something that you and I have talked about, right? Is I've always, anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, it will be very interesting to see where WWE and CM Punk and a bunch of that stuff end up. You know, right now, especially, you know, with a whole bunch of other stuff, let's talk about and focus on John Cena. Don't want to talk about his next match too much. But let's talk about this final run. And it's very interesting because his last few matches have been excellent. Were you able to catch any of his match from Friday with Sami Zayn?
No, but a lot of people have told me. Yorkie, our good friend Paul York, told me to watch it. A couple of people have reached out to me and told me to watch it. I have not yet, but I will. I know his match against Logan Paul was super highly praised as well. I thought his match against Cody Rhodes on SummerSlam was awesome. I thought that was like a vintage John Cena performance, as Michael Cole might say. And yeah, I think he's really having fun with it. He's finally doing what he wanted to do, which is be the baby face, be the John Cena that we all knew and loved. And yeah, I think the John Cena run is in a really good place. Yeah, and he's like, his last 3 matches have been bangers, right?
Yeah, or so, yeah, more-ish. But I kind of feel like that, as stupid as a heel run was, grand scheme and overall, and as stupid as it ended, I kind of feel like it was needed, not only to shut everyone up about turning John Cena heel, but it's also for the fans to realize, look, he's only got a little bit left. Appreciate him while you can. And I kind of feel like there are some fans out there who are appreciating him more now because of that heel run, or despite that one. I'm not sure which way.
That's fair. I like that. I think that makes sense. Yeah, the heel run it was handicapped by The Rock not showing up, and like The Rock kind of being the catalyst and then not following up on it at all, kneecapped that thing completely. I still think it was pretty good, honestly. I thought it's so weird to me that so many people dislike his first promo, and he came out and said it was a failure of a promo. I don't see that at all. I thought that was an awesome moment in Brussels when he came out and cut that first heel promo on Raw. I thought that was great. I bought the motivation for his heel turn. I think it makes total sense. But yeah, the execution of it, for reasons out of WWE's control, it didn't quite land. You know what I mean? And that's just poor circumstance. But I'm glad they pulled the shoot on that. I'm glad we now have the John Cena that we've always had. You know?
Yeah. It's something that I appreciate about this version of WWE. It's kind of funny when you see the internet reaction, and people sometimes forget how atrocious WWE and their former head of creative was. It's insane when people try to make a comparison and try to justify that things were better before. Great.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The last good creative period of WWE was what, 2005 before like 2023? Like, yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, by far. By far. Like, it was, like, honestly, the whole Benoit stuff was the catalyst for me to stop watching for a couple years, but it was very painful to watch, basically from like 2003, 4 up until that time. Basically, once the invasion and once the WCW guys were just like right in there on the roster, you had some great shows, but then it was like, all right, now what? Now what do we do? And it was just a lot of years and years and years and years where it was kind of just, it felt like they were just riding the waves.
Sometime around 2004, when Brock Lesnar first left, I felt a massive shift in the way that Vince McMahon started doing things and started booking wrestlers. And it was almost as though he didn't want to make a number one star who would then leave him. You know what I mean? And I feel a lot of that with UFC right now, where it's almost as though they want the UFC to be the brand, and they don't want to make any more Conor McGregor's. They don't want to make any more Alistair Overeems or Ngannou, Francis Ngannou's, who will then just fucking leave. You know what I mean? And I feel like for a long time, that was the Vince McMahon playbook, to cut organic baby faces like Dolph Ziggler or Zack Ryder off at the knees anytime they rose up. And he would give fans little nuggets, little like Eddie Guerrero was one, Chris Benoit was one. Honestly, he was Daniel Bryan in 2013 was one. But do you remember the fucking how painful that process was and how often they tried to cut him off until finally they gave him the world title at WrestleMania 30, and it was a big cathartic moment. And then almost immediately they fucking ruined that. Rey Mysterio's first world title run, badly ruined by WWE, almost an open disdain for their own champion. Yeah, it's funny how often WWE would fight themselves and fight their fans because they didn't fit Vince McMahon's very narrow definition of what he wanted. And now there's really none of that. Although Triple H is not without his faults. I think his booking has there was like a grace period, and now the bloom is off the rose pretty bad. Even John Cena versus Sami Zayn, the fact that we got that match and Sami Zayn was so roundly booed, that's a very bad red flag for Sami Zayn's next 6 to 12 months in WWE, I feel like. Triple H, not without his faults, still miles better than what Vince McMahon was, especially at the end.
Yeah, that's exactly. Daniel Bryan would have been interesting if it wasn't for his injury. It would have been very interesting to see how WWE would have WWE'd that first run. But just remember, anytime he did get the title, it felt like he got injured, pretty much right after, or announced his injury pretty much right after. But you're right, right? It was on the law and these types of shows where they kept saying WWE just will not, and they refuse to make stars. And it's interesting that WWE being in the TKO wheelhouse, that they haven't sat Dana White down and said, hey, you might want to build a star because look at how the past 2 decades went for us.
Fair enough. But then again, TKO is just printing money. Fucking multi-trillion-dollar company, TKO. There is one star of TKO, and his name is Donald Trump. Everyone else just falls in.
Yeah, well. So anything else you want to chat about before we call it a day?
I think that pretty well covers it. We got some big shows coming up. AEW All Out on the 20th. That AAA show on the 12th. Man, we'll talk some sports tomorrow, hopefully. It was an awesome NFL Week 1, except not if you're a Dolphins fan, but if you're a general football fan, the Buffalo-Baltimore game last night was literally one of the best football games I've ever seen in my entire life. And the NFL's in a good spot. Sports are sportsing. Max Scherzer's tipping pitches to the New York Yankees. Oh, Boris, what a time.
Not the first time he's done that, apparently. If my memory recollects, he's tipped his pitches in the past before. Not to the Yankees, but just in general. But we will talk all about that here on A Plus Productions, A Plus Productions. Productions.com is the best place to go. We want to hear what you have to say, and the best place for that is by joining the Facebook group, facebook.com, and searching for A Plus Productions. If you want more shows like this, or if you want to listen to our sports shows or geek shows and anything else, go to your favorite podcasting app and search for A Plus Productions. But if you really just want to listen to the wrestling shows, search for A Plus Wrestling. Matt, always a pleasure. Good having you chatting some wrestling. You gotta watch a little bit. We're gonna be talking. Well, I don't even know what we're gonna do this next couple few weeks with the onslaught of pay-per-views. You know, it's almost. Yeah, it's just too much. It's too much pay-per-views that we're going to need to figure something out in terms of how we're going to cover all those, especially with previews with and stuff. And just remember that this weekend, Brian Solomon is going to be joining us. He's going to be talking. Well, he's going to be talking the week that was with us, but he's also going to be talking about his Gorilla Monsoon book coming out at the end of this month. I believe it is September 30th when that's coming out. And yeah, it's not a bad book at all, to say the least. Matt, always fun. On behalf of the entire A Plus crew, thank you so much. Have an awesome week. But more importantly, and god damn it, wrestling fans, please stay tranquilo.
Please.
Please.